Ice brown shirts, black bag, Hispanic. Oh, ice brown shirts, black bag, Hispanic, U.S.-born citizen off the street. Confiscate his IDs but refuse to look at them, then claim he is actually undocumented. And do not give him a chance to protest, contact a lawyer, etc. They did not have a warrant. He was walking near the corner of Cermak Road and Harlem Avenue in Berwyn, Illinois, handing out his resume to local businesses. As he walked out of a Jiffy Lube, he was approached by ICE officers who grabbed him and handcuffed him and put him in a van without an opportunity to explain his citizenship. The officers drove Julio and others around for more than an hour before bringing him to an ICE processing center, where he remained still handcuffed for several more hours. All the while, Julio had a wallet containing identification that ICE had confiscated. The officers never showed Julio a warrant, and they did not ask him any questions to ascertain whether he was a non-citizen or a flight risk. After about 10 hours, ICE officers reviewed the contents of Julio's wallet, realized he was a U.S. citizen, and released him with no money and no paperwork. What do they mean, released him with no money and no paperwork? As in they took his money, or they didn't pay him for his time? And no paperwork, like they took the paperwork he had, or they just didn't show him like a warrant or anything? Unless, I don't know if it's different for federal officers. I can't imagine that it would be. But this interaction is okay, like right up until like literally the very fucking beginning. Like ICE officers could walk up to you and ask you a question, but I don't know how they can touch you or handcuff you. At that point, they would need at least reasonable suspicion to detain somebody. I don't know what reasonable suspicion you have by the guy just being brown. And then this taking him to an ICE center and everything, this sounds like an arrest. I don't even know if we've gotten a reasonable suspicion yet, let alone probable cause for an arrest. And then after 10 hours, they release him. That's okay. That's kind of, when's the revolution against this? You guys taking it and doing nothing. I don't know what to tell you. The problem is that, I get so angry. I hate it every time I see Dan post a stupid fucking clip. It actually triggers the fuck out of me. But I don't even know who to get mad at. Like, this is so, God, this just triggers the fuck out of me.
Regardless of the hypothetical reality where Kamala Harris would not be as bad as Donald Trump, which we have no proof for.
This is such a, it's such an, like, maybe Biden and Kamala would have brought us the, like, in any world, the thing is, I bet he'd even say yes, because he's such a disgusting snake privileged fuck. If you were to ask him prior to the election, do you think there's a chance that Kamala would authorize the Alien Enemies Act to start deporting brown people with no due process? Like, it's not even remotely the same. I hope that there are two big things that come from this for the Democrats as they figure out their pathing, their footing. One is that conservatives have no values. Don't ever try to appeal or to them on some values-based thing, like on their own values, right? You just have to try to win over like the working class voters, provide good services, message on that, but don't ever appeal to conservative values because they have none. Number one. And number two, these lefties have got to fucking go. Get these guys the fuck away from this party. They are cancerous, toxic, subhuman fucks. Like, it's actually disgusting. Oh my God. Oh, it'd be the same. It'd be the exact same on both sides. Kill me, bro. Holy fuck. Kamala would not have turned ICE into a modern Gestapo that kidnaps students off the streets. There was never a point where ICE wasn't that. Liberals believe in nothing and remember even less. Guys, laws are important. The border is important. Laws should be enforced. And the border should be enforced. We should not have illegal immigrants in the United States, okay? That being said, the way that you, just like we also ideally shouldn't have abortions, right? Because people shouldn't be getting pregnant, right? So what do you do? What the best things to do are to be preventative, okay? How do you keep people from getting pregnant accidentally, right? Things like birth control and education having to do with contraception, right? Or with illegal immigrants, for the people that are here, you've got to figure out a way to get them registered. And then ideally you figure out a way to help people immigrate more or secure the border more. Both of these things are fine. But yeah, it can't be a lawless nation. Like, somebody made a post on my subreddit. I don't think I read it yesterday, but I get that vibe that the person said. Although I don't know if I can quantify it, but somebody in my subreddit was making the complaint that he had a whole bunch of like conservative coworkers and stuff who are now like silent. Like, they used to have political debates and stuff all the time, but now nobody really wants to debate anything. And I think it's kind of funny, and I bet that that's kind of happening in a lot of places. Because I know that we like to think conservatives are actually evil. Most of them probably just aren't very, like, politically plugged in. But if you are plugged in at all, bro, the recent shit is, like, it's just indefensible. It's insane how crazy the conservative, how crazy Trump has been recently. It's indefensible. Yeah. True. Somebody just linked this. 1 year from now, I blame Biden. He should have done a better job explaining how Trump's policies were going to screw people like me. That's why I'm still MAGA. I've noticed that all my conservative friends are so quiet when I talk about politics nowadays. Before Trump's inauguration, we would regularly have these contentious conversations about current events. But now I can't even get them to engage with any of it. Like, for example, I was trying to talk to my friends about this recent Houthi group chat clusterfuck, which is obviously a massive deal, when you have the VP and our heads of security showing such monumental incompetence, and yet I couldn't get a peep out of him. Mind you, this was someone who I would constantly argue with about Trump and current events. Am I too online brain to the point of being off-putting? What's happening? I feel like I'm objectively presenting facts, not ideologically framing anything, but then they go radio silent, so I just stop. Any idea why? I will say for this, probably maybe because he watches my stream, and we do have a bit of ideological capture here, he's probably not fully honestly representing the story. So like I've even been a little bit wrong on this, and that I keep saying that it was probably a violation of like national security stuff because these are probably classified. However, if you actually go through the classified stuff, I've had people email me this, the only stuff that they talk about when it comes to like attacks and stuff are war plans. And these were just attack plans. And a lot of us, I think, have gotten that wrong. So, you know, it might just be our partisanship there that's inhibiting our ability to read honestly what's going on. Don't you think April 2nd will be a potentially big wake-up call for all the people who don't follow any politics if he actually does the tariffs? I can't imagine the market not tanking. We'll find out. We officially had negative GDP this quarter. Is it official yet? I don't know when like the fiscal quarters end, if it's actually like these first 3 months of the year or something. The fact that we went from whatever we had for the last quarter of Biden to if we actually end up getting a GDP contraction, it just for no reason, for literally no reason. Like Trump is breaking all the rules because it was supposed to be you just write off the goodness of the last admin and take credit for it. But now he's like managing to destroy the goodness. Like why? What the fuck? I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's finalized yet. So at what point will you leave America? What's your biggest reason for staying? Oh, will I leave? I don't know, dog. My biggest reason for staying is, one, I'm familiar with being here. Two, traveling internationally, or like, I don't know if Nathan could visit me like another country. That would get really weird. Three, I mean, I still do all my events in the US, and flying over the Atlantic to go to LA or New York would be a huge headache. Four, I already get by my taxes in the United States. Oh God, that IRS just came from my bank account today. It would be even worse in other countries. Fuck that. Five, I've got Dan here for anything else. Six, yo mama. I thought streamers plus in Florida would have favorable taxes. There's not much you can do for streaming to like preferentially like tax avoid, you know. Florida has no state tax, but there's still federal income tax.